Hey, this is my assignment for the process of the Kptp. Um, as far as how it's implemented or how it works is there's 6 phases that we're going to have to um, do a bunch of different information in each one. First one's analysis of contextual information, which is just how do the students learn? Does the teacher know how students learn? Do they have different strategies for helping students learn when maybe one strategy doesn't work as well as another one? The next one is analysis of learning environment factors. So do the teachers have different approaches to learning, kind of like the first one, a little bit different? Do they have like hands-on versus purely, lecture-based? Do they do experiments? What do they think that students learn best from, and how can they kind of tweak that on the go when something's not working for them? Okay, this isn't working. This lesson didn't go the way I wanted it to, so maybe next lesson we'll do more of this. It seems to be working better than what I've been doing. Next step is the instructional implementation step. It just talks about instructional strategies, from think, pair, share, just a bunch of different stuff like that. What kind of instructional strategies do you use in the classroom, in class, and how do you use them effectively, to create a better learning environment for your kids? Which kind of segues into our next phase of the Kptp. It's the analysis of classroom learning environment. So how does the environment affect your students' ability to learn? So having visual aids or different things like that, does it help your students learn? Do you implement things like that to create a positive learning environment for your students? Then the analysis of assessment procedures. Just can you create a fair assessment? Can you create an assessment that fairly grades different values that you want your students to learn, or depths of knowledge? People use that term a lot. Are they able to take the information that you have taught them and apply it to real world scenarios, which would be, a deeper depth of knowledge than just remembering facts, which, a lot of kids end up doing in school today. That's a lot of what we end up teaching them. So can we create an assessment that is fair and that tests for deeper depths of knowledge than just, the face facts? And then our last one is reflection of self-evaluation. Just, can you evaluate yourself? Which this one might seem silly, but it's actually really important to be able to, look back at yourself and really say, okay, this lesson I kind of stunk at, I need help. Maybe I can go, ask another teacher how they teach this lesson, if they're doing better with it. So it's really just not being afraid to say, okay, I kind of stunk at that. I need to work on that a little bit more. What can I do to better myself so that I may do better by my students? So I think that's really important. And yeah. So as far as what I am comfortable with on the Kptp so far, I would say the lesson plans and assessments. I think that's a strength of mine, as I'm pretty good at lesson planning and making assessments that I think test different facets of the information. I also feel comfortable with who I'm teaching and what I'm teaching. I went to school for 4 years, took every science class I could find at my university, and I feel really comfortable with the material as far as biology, life science type stuff like that goes. I'm really interested in it. I like it a lot. I still like to learn new things, and I think that's important. So what I'm teaching is comfortable for me. When we just talked about the reflection self-evaluation part, I feel like I'm somebody who is pretty good at that. I'm pretty good at realizing, like, okay, that didn't go the way I wanted it to. How can I do that better? So, and then collaboration versus, plagiarism. I definitely know the difference. I think that should be a comfort for most people, especially when we're in a graduate program and you've gone to school or college for 4 years already. You should know that plagiarism is bad and not to do it. So I think that should be a comfort for everyone. Formatting, I feel like I am pretty good at, grammar and spelling and formatting a paper. I feel like that's a strength of mine. I feel like I shouldn't have any problem formatting it to the scorer's liking. And then professionalism, I feel like I can write a paper very professional. Definitely no emojis or LOLs or anything like that. So yeah, those things don't worry me at all. The few things that I'm not comfortable with is how the students teach themselves. I am teaching a very at-risk population of students who just getting them to listen to me, so that I can try and teach them a lesson is difficult. So I'm kind of worried about how I'm going to get them to teach themselves for this. So that kind of worries me. I'm a little nervous about that. The learning environment, which I feel like should be one of my strengths, is kind of makes me nervous just because, again, I work with at-risk students. So, it's hard to kind of put a lot of posters up and get all this stuff when, you're one kid blowing up away from tearing everything down. And, so just creating an environment that is going to keep my kids calm and keep them focused. I still kind of struggle with figuring out how I'm going to do that. The selecting the subclass and the class and the focus students kind of worries me again. Again, I work with at-risk students. I don't have very many students per class, maybe 3 to 8 tops. So to pick 2 classes and then a couple of individual students per class, I feel like my options are going to be really limited, and maybe that's okay. I know we just need, a couple students to follow throughout the Kptp process, so maybe it really doesn't matter. I just feel like I have a much smaller pool of students than most teachers would. One of my discomforts is getting recorded. I really don't like getting recorded all that much, especially with the implications that the Kptp has. I feel like I will probably get nervous. I don't really like being in front of the camera all that much. So, and then the only other thing that I wouldn't say I'm not comfortable with, it just kind of stinks, is of course the 35-page, thing where we always, you have to have 35 pages, can't go over, can't go under, you need 35 pages of work. And it's just, I've written papers that were 20, 25 pages before in college, so I shouldn't be uncomfortable. It's just one of those things where it seems daunting at the time when you have nothing on paper yet. So yeah, I think it'll be okay, but still kind of nervous. And then what can this class help me with as far as the Kptp process goes? Well, I definitely think the getting recorded thing, maybe if I am in front of a camera more, maybe it will help calm my nerves. Probably not, but you never know. So I'm hoping I get a little less camera shy. I'm hoping I can collaborate with a couple of the teachers as far as the Kptp goes, essentially, especially in the how do they have their students teach themselves. I mentioned that was a discomfort of mine, so I'm hoping by kind of linking up with some of the student teachers that are in the same boat as me, maybe they will have some ideas on how to give my students a little bit more power in the learning process and kind of get them a little bit more responsible in how they learn and who teaches who. And then also, again, hopefully I can collaborate with fellow teachers that are in my situation and see how they create their ideal learning environment. How do they create an environment that is conducive to calm and, focus and I don't mean calm as in I want them to, sit there and stare at me for, 60 minutes without fail. I just mean calm as in how do I reduce the numbers of behavioral challenges? How do I reduce the anger blow-ups and, the things, one kid said this to this kid and all of a sudden, we have a big thing going on. So, what can they do in their environment that helps that, and then maybe I can get a couple ideas from them. So, yeah, that's essentially my process for the Kptp that I've kind of looked into. Hopefully I can get some of these things, do better with them having this class. Maybe there I'll get better at some things that I didn't think I could get better at with this class. So, that would be great. So I'm here to learn as much as I can and hopefully get ready for this Kptp. So, thanks.